Holiness, first, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Given the human race's long history of war, oppression, inhumanity toward one another, how do you maintain your faith in the basic gentleness and goodness of human beings?
Past and today, much differences. Past, I think firstly, each community, I think in many ancient times, you see, each community, even community, more or less, you see, they live isolated or completely independently. Now then the nationhood, idea of nationhood, is it more or less is independent, self-sufficient. According to that circumstances, that reality, concept of war, destroy of your neighbor as an enemy, it is your victory. But now today's reality, economy, your economy must depend on your neighbor. I think America's sort of economy, obviously oil must depend on Arab, isn't it?
Right.
So your own development, for that is you need the other continent. So once we develop some kind of sort of distant relations, it suffer you. So this is my view. And then environment issue. Violence, now particularly now today, I think the power of destruction is immense. That automatically very harmful for environment. So therefore, I think now in 20th century, in the around 50s, 60s,
Okay.
I think people believe ultimately war inevitable. Right?
Inevitable.
But then later, the concept of coexistence, different political system, and the blocks, east, west bloc, and ready to shoot each other. But under that circumstances, I think at the beginning, maybe out of fear, the concept of coexistence happened. Then eventually, I think because of the public sort of the movement, the Berlin Wall disappeared. Totalitarian sort of the system, at least in Eastern European countries or Soviet Union, then changed. Not through war, but through, I think, popular peaceful movement. Because of awareness, war is mutual destruction, not one-side victory, particularly with nuclear weapon.
Right.
Isn't it? So these are, I feel, the humanity now becoming more mature. Now I think all parts of the world, I think the concept of peace, non-violence, even I think attraction towards Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent as a method, now more and more attraction. The Luther King also, you see, they actually, he very keen to follow the Gandhian sort of philosophy. And then Nelson Mandela in South Africa. So now ahimsa or non-violence idea, not only just idea, but also in political reality, now non-violent method. So these are, I feel, the signs of maturity, right? Maturation. And the circumstances now compel we have to live together. So I feel in the past, different circumstances. So through war, many people can be hero. More killing, thousands of millions of people killed. Then sometimes people got the more metal and consider hero. But I think today, no longer that kind of mood. I think early part of 20th century, when nation declare war, every citizen proudly join war effort. Since Vietnam War, now no longer that kind of sort of attitude from the public. Isn't it? The Iraq War, because about to start the Iraq War, how many millions of people expressed their sort of, as a day, against the war, from Australia of the United States. Now these are, I think, the big change. So I feel that's the reality. And meantime, more effort through education, through education, and also media, I think have very, very important role. So through that way, I think we can develop more peaceful world, more cooperation. Cooperation is the interest for everybody. More division is nobody's interest. Like that.
The United States is in the midst of a very important presidential election this year. What are your thoughts on the choices that we face? Obviously, this is being followed all over the world as well as here.
Yes, certainly. Firstly, America, the greatest democratic country and a superpower. So I always admire, and meantime, the election, the president, certainly everybody have some interest. But then choice is up to you. Not my business. I know both of them, so anyone win. One of my friend win.
Let me ask, you've got a very joyful laugh. What things make you laugh?
Some mistake. Other people make some mistake that I feel laugh.
Some mistake.
And also, you see, usually my own mistake also is sometimes causing laugh. Like that. I immediately admit to my mistake, and I'm okay.
Okay. Let me ask you, what is your hope for Tibet's future? Not necessarily what people think will turn out, but what would be your hope for the ideal future for Tibet?
Firstly, I think fullest sort of protection of environment of Tibet, because the major rivers which cover almost whole Asia, from Pakistan, then India, then Bangladesh, then Vietnam, Laos, or these things, and also China. At least, I think in northern India, very dense populated area. Their life, I think, very much based on depend on those rivers, major rivers which come from Tibet, in the whole northern India, and then China as well, and the Mekong River also comes from Tibet. So many nations actually, you see, they very much related with that river. And then, according expert, the Tibet high altitude dry climate. Therefore, once the environment damage take place, then it take longer time to recover by nature. So therefore, you see, we need special care. So the caring Tibetan environment is not only 6 million Tibetan people concerned, but also I think over 1 billion human beings are surrounded Tibet. This is number one. Number two, Tibetan culture, Tibetan language, with script. Our language is a unique language, and script also unique script, and more than 1,000-year old. So with that language, I think the complete form of Buddhism, I think explanation of complete form of Buddhism available only in Tibetan language. So no doubt, Buddhism is one of the important world religion. Of course, historically, Buddhism belongs east, but they one of the important religion. There's no question. So protection of Tibetan Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhist culture, including Tibetan language, is something really worthwhile and important. Now, as far as Tibetan Buddhism is concerned, not only 6 million Tibetan, but also around, including Tibetan, around 13-14 millions who traditionally, you see, follow Tibetan Buddhism. There's whole northern India, I mean whole Himalayan range. The people traditionally follow Tibetan Buddhism. Then Mongolia, including some 3 republics in Russia, sharing same Tibetan Buddhism. So number around 13-14 millions. Then more important, in China, traditionally, many Chinese, during Qing dynasty, the emperor himself follower of Tibetan Buddhism. And Yuan dynasty, or some of the the emperors are actually follow Tibetan Buddhism like that. So traditionally there are many Chinese who follow Tibetan Buddhism. So this is one thing. Then politically, Tibet, actually the geographical situation, Tibet between India and mainland China. So now the relation between India and China, friendly, genuine friendship on the basis of mutual trust. And then the China and India combine these two, almost a quarter of human being. So therefore, the genuine friendship on the basis of mutual trust is the interest for whole world peace. I think very important. Therefore, till Tibet situation, just like today's sort of situation, the Chinese government bound to station large number of soldiers. That immediately, you see, they create some uncomfortable in Indian mind. So the Tibetan normalcy, peaceful, is very important factor for development of trust between China and India. So therefore, I think eventually concerned people have to find more sort of facility in that region. I think the present sort of tense situation is nobody's interest. That's my view. If we look Tibet situation locally, then really you get feeling of hopeless. But if you look Tibet's situation from wider perspective, there is real hope. And also, the most important, the people from China is changing. Today's China, compare 30, 40 years ago, much changed, still changing. So one, I think, big change is a communist without a communist ideology. Communist must be socialist. So now communist to capitalist is something big change. Recently, one gathering of Nobel laureate, I asked my Nobel laureate is a friend, what today is China, whether it belongs to socialist or not. Then they say no, now no longer socialist, but totalitarian sort of regime.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's one Nobel. I do not want to mention name, but that Nobel laureate, socialist, and generally, you see, they much respect or admire about China. Yes.
Are you concerned at all that the Tibetan people will grow impatient and at some point abandon nonviolence?
So far, generally, they really carry non-violent spirit, even under difficult circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long it remains, I don't know. As a human being, too much stress, too much sort of feeling of desperation, difficult. Hopefully, never happen. Violence never happen. Hopefully.
In terms of the religious conflicts that have happened in the country, you've talked about reaching out to Muslims in particular since
Yes.
9/11. What are ways that we can tamp down the distrust and fear that exists between the world's religions?
I think regular contact. I have been Jordan few occasions. I noticed the Jordanian, I'm a young Jordanian who got the modern education. Of course, Muslim, but you see, their the attitude no longer much sort of isolated sort of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then one important thing is Indian Muslim in India. I think India actually, the second most populated, biggest Muslim population. Number one, Indonesia. Then in India, a few hundred Muslims, a few hundred millions of Muslims. Is it?
Over 2 million, 200 million.
200 millions Muslim in India. But through centuries, you see, these Indian Muslim, you see, live with other believers. No problem. So I think there's a pluralism of religion.
Mm-hmm.
In India, 1,000 years is something very living, something very alive. So just before coming here, I made one pilgrimage to Ajmer in Rajasthan, one very, very important historical holy site of mainly Sufism. Sufism. Hmm? So that shrine, many Hindus also pay pilgrimage. So you see, the very harmony sort of relations there in India. I think that now we must sort of promote the rest of the world. I feel like that. So the main thing is more regular contact. Like that.
Why does that seem to be working in India and not in some other parts of the world?
Because I think history factor. In India, last more than 1,000 years, so all these different religions. Firstly, I think within homegrown religions, there are many different religions, different Hinduisms. Within Hinduism, there are many different sort of traditions. Then Buddhism, Jainism. So already, I think last I think around 3,000 years, these homegrown religions live together. Sometimes a little sort of because of that conflict. I think mainly due to, again, you see, like in any other part of the world, sometimes the power, sometimes the economy interest, some conflict. But basically, you see, all these remain together. Then, like, another religion, Zoroastrian, the people who practice that Zoroastrian, we usually call Parsi. Very small population. Now around 100,000 out of 60 billion human beings. Small community. Originally come from Iran. I think 1,000 years ago, as a refugee, come from Iran, then settled in India, very small community. Now today, less than 100,000 population, but they carry their own religion. And many of these Parsis, well educated, so many businessmen, as well as in this civilian, as well as military personnel. So it's survived. That means the millions of other religious practitioners, this small number, they survive, they live happily. So then, like that, Christian from Arab, then later Muslim also came to India. I think that's the history. I think makes the differences. Now, whereas in Europe, traditionally Judeo-Christian tradition, no other religion, then eventually some Muslim. So I have been few occasions, few times in Northern Ireland, among the Irish people. They actually the same believer of Christianity, but within Christianity, Catholic and Protestant. This is because of the conflict, and the people from the Catholic group, they consider Protestant are something like non-believer.
Right.
And then Protestant is to consider Catholics are non-believer, like that.
Right.
I think these are people like me, who live in India. When we see these things, are something unbelievable, like that. And then in Muslim countries, the Shia and the Sunni, again fighting. Both is a follower of Quran. So now that part, I think the world, one big change of modern world is much more information. Isn't it? Information of different culture, different religion, now much wider, right? Much wider. So things will change, I think. Now perhaps I think regarding the promotion of religious harmony, 4 methods which I adopt. Number 1, meeting with scholars from different tradition, exchange what's differences, what's similarities. Then obviously there are differences. When you find differences, then very important to research, to investigate what is the purpose of these differences. Same purpose. Now, for example, mainly theistic religion, non-theistic religion. There's fundamental differences. Both, you see, the same message or same practice of love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance. So different philosophy, different concept of God, Creator, meant for promotion of warm-heartedness, love and compassion, like that. Then non-theistic religion, different philosophy, again the same purpose, to promote compassion, love, or forgiveness, like that. So we can find, certainly we will find same purpose. Number 1. Number 2, meeting with practitioner, exchange their deeper spiritual experiences. For me, that's very, very helpful to develop respect other tradition. As a result of my meeting with late Thomas Merton, right? Thomas Merton, the Tibet monk. My understanding about Christianity, then much enriched. So that's number 2. Number 3, group pilgrimage. Group, the different people from different tradition that go together a pilgrimage to holy place, holy shrines of different tradition. With this practice, actually I started this practice 1975 in India. Within one day, I pay pilgrimage to all different shrines, mosque, church, Buddhist temple, Hindu temple, and then Gurdwara, like that. So with that spirit, I also have 2 times pilgrimage to Jerusalem. The beginning, Wailing Wall, then the Christian church within the city, then also mosque, like that. And then in southern France, Lourdes, and Portugal, Fatima. I visit this area not as a tourist, but as a pilgrimage. Okay. Very, very helpful. Very helpful. Then some Christians also, came to India one occasion, and we spent together in most important Buddhist site in India. Every morning, 3 days of dialogue, and each morning we all together spend half an hour silent meditation in Buddha Gaya under Bodhi tree. I think historic, like that. So these are very, very helpful, very useful. Then fourth method, like RCC meeting. Leaders come together and speak same word, peace, spirituality, like that. Very helpful. So, and with that, my practice, I made such a pilgrimage to Kashmir, just before coming here, with Muslim hat. Later, I noticed in one Indian newspaper, you see a picture, Dalai Lama with white hat, Muslim white hat. Picture looks nice. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.